Right now, we are moments away from a high-stakes one-on-one meeting in Moscow between Russian President Putin and Chinese President Xi. Now, Xi arrived in Moscow for the state visit just a few hours ago. Beijing, of course, framing this trip as more of a peacemaking mission amidst the war in Ukraine.
It comes just after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Vladimir Putin, essentially charging him with the abduction of children from Ukraine.
Joining us now to discuss what those charges could actually mean is Leila Sadat, who's a professor at Washington University in St. Louis School of Law and one of the world's foremost authorities when it comes to international criminal law. It's good to have you with us this morning. So when these charges broke, there was a lot of talk about how they are largely symbolic, since the reality of Putin traveling to a country, right, an ICC country where he could potentially be arrested, seems slim. Why do you think the charges were filed now?
Well, the charges are filed because Ukraine referred the case to the court, and actually 41 states joined the referral to the court. Ukraine asked the ICC to investigate, as did 41 members of the court states parties, if you like. And that means that the prosecutor has an obligation to investigate, and the prosecutor has to follow the facts and the law. And the facts, as we've seen on our television screens, thanks so much to CNN for your great reporting, by the way, Erica, the facts really drive this case. And the facts are shocking in their illumination of war crimes. And so the prosecutor really has no obligation but to file charges.
We have really seen this concerted effort. I mean, I was even meeting with Polish officials just about a year ago talking about their efforts to work to help document potential war crimes. What more do you see could be coming?
I think this is the tip of the iceberg. I think it's a brilliant strategy on the part of the prosecutor to charge both Vladimir Putin and his commissioner for children's rights in this case, because there are two war crimes that have been charged. They're relatively obvious. Russia's essentially admitted to what happened. Vladimir Putin and his minister have stated that they engaged in this conduct. And so it's really obvious. And it's also a particularly heinous offense. These are actually grave breaches of the Geneva Conventions, and Russia's a party to the Geneva Conventions. So Russia knows exactly that these are not okay. The transfer and deportation of children during war is unlawful. So I think these are the tip of the iceberg. I think we're going to see a lot more charges relating probably to crimes against humanity, probably to the aerial bombardment campaign and other attacks on civilians and civilian infrastructure.
So while you anticipate more charges, what do you think the outcome of some of those charges will be? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but these ICC charges, Putin, for example, can't be tried in absentia, correct?
That's absolutely right, Erica. And of course, we know that international justice always has to play the long game. Many times we found ourselves in this situation before with respect to Slobodan Milosevic, with respect to Charles Taylor, with respect to Ratko Mladic. We've had to wait a long time to get our defendants in the dock. That said, as a permanent court, the International Criminal Court can wait. There's no statute of limitations, and it makes it much more difficult both for President Putin and for his commissioner to travel abroad, to conduct their business, and subjects them potentially to crippling sanctions at a personal level, as well as because of their state conduct everywhere they go.
Really quickly before I let you go, do you see both these charges and the potential for additional charges in any way influencing the behavior or the orders given to Russian troops?
So I don't see President Putin himself all of a sudden having a change of heart and saying, you know, this is a really bad idea. We shouldn't be violating international law. What I suspect, though, is that others under his command, soldiers in the field, when asked to do things that are manifestly unlawful, that are clearly breaches of international law, not just in the ICC statute, but in all the treaties that Russia's a party to. Russia's a party to the Genocide Convention, to the Geneva Conventions. I think a lot of the people in Russia, once they learn about these things, are going to have second thoughts about this war. And we understand from the reporting that's now ongoing that that's already happening.
Leila Sadat, really appreciate your insight this morning. Thank you.